This has to be one of the more important videos that I have to actually make. It's what we call a trend that's happening over the last few years, and it's picking up at such a big rate. Some people call it the woke culture, but what's actually happening is very, very scary to see it happening before our eyes. Not only is it part of Bible prophecy, but it can be such a line breaker in terms of the family, and we're seeing it happening at such a fast pace. What I wanted to do is to show you one of the kind of the world's leaders when it comes to technology, Elon Musk, which most people probably know, and he talks about his own story with his son and what happened there, but also to give you an eye-opening view of what's coming down the pipe and how this has been pushed in our faces. What I'll ask you to do, this is an important video, is to watch it in full to get the full context, but also smash the like button so that someone who does not know Christ may come to the understanding of who he truly is and his message behind him. But first off, have a listen to Elon's story as he talks to Jordan Peterson.
Why are you willing to make this an issue, do you think?
Well,
it's sort of like the nameless issue.
It happened to one of my older boys. I mean, going back to the so-called gender-affirming care, which is a terrible euphemism.
That's for sure.
It's really a child sterilization.
Right.
It's evil.
Literally
I think
can't
it's evil.
imagine anything worse than that.
Yes, it's evil.
This is the worst medical and psychological malpractice I've ever seen anywhere, including what I've done, what I've studied in reference to historical atrocity, eugenics, what do you call those, prefrontal lobotomy, even the sorts of things that were going on in Nazi Germany. At least the bloody Nazis knew it was wrong and tried to hide it.
Yes. I mean, you're taking kids who are obviously often far below the age of consent.
Yep. Confused, miserable.
Yes. The reality is that almost every child goes through some kind of identity crisis.
It's part of puberty.
Exactly. It's just part of growing up. So it's very possible for adults to manipulate children who are having a natural identity crisis into believing that they are the wrong gender.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that they need to be the other gender, or they need to be a boy, or a boy needs to be a girl, and that will solve all their problems. And that will solve their problems, and then they give them sterilizing drugs, which are called also a misnomer, puberty blocker. These are sterilization drugs, so they can never have children again.
Yeah.
They can have double mastectomies, the mutilation.
They have their forearms stripped to build non-functioning penises.
Yeah. It's macabre. I mean, we have an age of consent for a reason. There are ages at which you can do things, because if we allow children to take permanent actions when they're 10, 12, 14 years old, they will do things that they subsequently greatly regret. So I think doing...
Why are you willing to make this an issue, do you think?
Well,
it's sort of like the nameless issue.
It happened to one of my older boys, where I was essentially tricked into signing documents for one of my older boys, Xavier. This was before I had really any understanding of what was going on, and we had COVID going on, and so there was a lot of confusion. I was told, Xavier might commit suicide if...
No reliable clinician ever believed that. There was never any evidence for that. I see. So you're telling parents that unless they agree to this radical transformation, that their children are going to die, and you think that's moral, and you think that's true. That is so pathological that it's almost incomprehensible. I can't imagine anything worse. I can't imagine a therapist doing anything worse than that, or sitting by idly and remaining silent while his colleagues are doing it. It's pathetic.
It's incredibly evil, and I agree with you that people that have been promoting this should go to prison.
It won't stop till that happens.
Yeah.
It'll just go underground. Puberty blockers are being accessed online by kids all the time through non-medical channels. So yeah,
Right.
It's not going to stop. Yeah. Okay, so I see. So that's
So I
personal
was tricked into doing this, and it wasn't explained to me that puberty blockers are actually just sterilization drugs. Anyway, and so I lost my son essentially. They call it dead naming for a reason.
Yeah,
This is sad.
So the reason it's called dead naming is because your son is dead. So my son Xavier is dead, killed by the woke mind virus.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
I can't imagine what that would be like.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, and there's lots of people in that situation now.
Right.
It's not pretty, and lots of demolished kids.
Yes.
Yeah, well, that's a good reason to be the final straw. All right, so let's.
So I vowed to destroy the woke mind virus after that, and we're making some progress.
Join the club.
Yeah.
You know, I found this to be a very, very sad story, but also a story that's happening with much, much more people than it did years ago. Something's after happening when it comes to the entertainment industry, the music industry. They're taking it up a notch. I've been saying for years that they've been targeting kids in terms of what they're putting out there, and the subliminal messages behind it to catch the young kids at a very early age. We see that the Olympics is on at the moment, and even what they did in the opening of the Olympics is to show you exactly what they are looking to do. Have a look at what they did in the Olympics, and I'll be back.
Know this first of all, that in the last days mockers will come with their mocking. If the world hates you, keep in mind that it hated me first. I looked, and behold a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death. Hell followed with him. They were given power over a fourth of the earth to kill by sword, famine, and plague.
Nothing new under the sun. Scripture tells us, you know, especially as we draw closer to Christ's return, in Jesus' own words, he did say it'd be like the days of Noah and the days of Lot. And anyone that studies Scripture, we know what happened there, but something really comes to mind. We know in Genesis 6, in Noah's time, you know, we had the watchers that came down, and the ones that were supposed to look over mankind, they end up coming down, picking wives for themselves and procreating with them. But when we look into extra biblical texts like Enoch, we get a description of the things that they actually done, and from that point things escalated more and more. Things got more repulsive in the sins that they were doing, the confusion behind everything, and we're actually seeing that this is happening today. The main message in this is that we need to be praying for that generation. You know, I was praying on this over the last kind of few days. And it's the same in Scripture, you know, when Moses was a child, Jesus was a child, they tried to kill that generation off, very important and significant generations. And, you know, I believe the generation that will see the fulfillment of prophecy in terms of the return of Christ, the enemy is trying to kind of smash and break that generation down now and bring in a spirit of confusion like never before. So we need to be praying for that generation. The enemy is never going to win. It's already been won. What he's trying to do in the meantime is to bring as much carnage as absolute possible. But in the end, God always is in control. And it's a message that I've been saying for a long, long time. We need to stand up, be accounted worthy in terms of pushing through, even when it's tough, that the gospel of Jesus Christ still has to be preached, and there's power in the gospel to reach those kids that may be in a situation to where they don't know who they are and are confused on it. I believe that the gospel of Christ can break through all barriers. But remember, regardless of all the chaos going on in the world, God is always in control. Keep the faith.